Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Eljay Johnsen Show, the show that always sounds the exact same no matter when it airs. This show airs every single weekend, every Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified otherwise over on the also equally deep-voiced Twitter account at the Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Tuesday. Any of you have any questions over the week, send them over to my email, ljjohnsen@gmail.com. Remember, that's Johnsen, and it sounds super manly. Deep breath. Okay, so, I'm very excited for my next guest today. He also has a super masculine and deep voice, and he is primarily known for his YouTube content going over the canonicity of various different parts of the franchise Halo. He's known on YouTube as Halo Canon, but you're going to know him as Toa Freak and or Ian. How are you doing today, my deep-voiced friend?
Yes, I am doing quite well. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure. It is nice to meet such a fellow deep-voiced human.
Yes, so good. So darn good. Oh, that was fun for a while it lasted. At the end there, you actually kind of sounded like Anawa from Mask of Light.
Oh, gosh.
Pohatu!
Pohatu, my friend. What brings you to Onukoro? I had the voice actor for the Journey to One Onua on a few months ago.
Ah, nice.
And have you seen?
Actually, still need to finish that. It's like when Bionicle G2 got canceled, like all my motivation to finish the series just flew out the window.
Yeah.
But eventually I need to see it just because it's Bionicle media. I need to consume it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I recommend it for the experience. If you like Generation 1, which I know you do, you're going to have some mixed feelings about that ending.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the ending. I never watched the show, but I watched like the dozen reviews that exist online.
Yeah, it's a journey to one. But yeah, no, I do recommend it at least for the
one
experience.
Disappointing ending. No.
Yeah, no, it is. What would make it a little better, though, is if they redubbed it entirely. No, obviously, keep every single one except for Liwa, and replace him with the one single person on this planet who should absolutely voice Liwa. Me. So anyway, let's go ahead and get things started, and I'll have you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you got into LEGO, Bionicle, and the community, and what you're up to now.
Yeah. I'll start with where I'm at now, and then we can finish on LEGO. Right now, obviously, I run the YouTube channel Halo Canon, focusing primarily on Halo lore, and that actually has its own roots. That actually has its roots in Bionicle, because my favorite part of Bionicle, as I started getting older, was the lore. So eventually, when Bionicle ended, and the transition to Halo lore was just like that for me. But primarily, I got into Halo. I'm so used to talking about Halo. I got to get into the Lego mindset. But as for getting into Bionicle, as a kid, I was a Lego kid. Me and my dad would go to Toys R Us, rest in peace. Mm-hmm. Every Saturday, like almost every Saturday, we'd get either new sets or we'd just get bags of bricks and go home and start building nonsense. Even younger, my parents got me was it Duplos? I think they're called.
Yep.
Yeah. So like been a Lego babies like as long as I can remember. There's actually a funny story in there too. My parents, there's always that time when you reach the age where you ask, where do babies come from? And my parents had, I think, the most creative answer for me, which was they went to I don't remember exactly all the details, but it was essentially they go to a factory, you build a baby out of Legos, and then it's brought to life. And that's it's like, my parents are very creative.
Well, I mean, when it comes to LEGO, creativity is right around the corner.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
But loved LEGO since day one. And of course, when 2001 came around and Bionicle figures started showing up on shelves, how could I say no? And over time, eventually started collecting them all, started getting into the books, the comics. I remember I loved Brickmaster back in the day, the only way to get the comics. I still got a bunch of those special edition, like holofoil cover ones. I think I still got my old Toa Nuva issue poster from the Brickmaster stuff, but eventually it became entirely about the lore for me when it comes to Bionicle, because I think I was actively collecting the sets up through 2006, and I think 2007 is where I finally said, these are not for me anymore. Not because I was growing out of them or anything, but because what attracted me to the sets in the first place started to disappear, and that was the functionality.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite set to this day, I'm almost 100% confident in this declaration, are the Kane-Ra and Moaka sets.
Classics.
I love that expanding neck and jaw grasping, which, you know, they also kind of had that in the Bow Rock Queens, and I love that. I think my parents probably still have a video of me unwrapping that set at Christmas and freaking out, full Nintendo kid. If I could, yeah. I know the video was taken. I don't know if it still exists, but I would love to find it if it ever did, if I could.
That'd be great. That'd be a blast from the past.
Yeah, toss that on Twitter. It's like, I have no dignity at this point anyway. Have fun.
Of course. Now,
but
I do have a question very briefly before you continue. I'm going to go out on a limb when I say this. Your first Bionicle set, was it Galimata?
Sadly, no.
Okay.
I was 11. I hadn't quite hit that point yet.
Okay, fair enough.
Though I did later start appreciating Gally, if you know what I mean. No.
The reason I ask is just because it seems very common for a lot of Bionicle fans, no matter who their favorite character is, no matter what their favorite set is, they often will either have their first set be Galimata, an iteration of Gally, or a blue character.
My first one was Onawa, actually.
Okay, so I was completely wrong. Fair enough.
Yeah. Actually, it was either just Onawa or Onawa and Pohatu, because I know those are the first two sets I owned. But, anyway.
That makes a lot of sense, Earth and Stone, so.
Yeah. I think it's just, those might have been what were available at the Toys R Us I was at. You know, who knows? God knows how many years? 18 years ago now, so. Yeah. I don't know what was going through my mind at that time. I don't think even I knew what was going through my mind at that age. At that age, I didn't know what was going through my own mind. But yeah, so about 2006, started falling out of the sets. Like I said, the functionality was disappearing. It was all about posability, which I did not care for at all. If I wanted posability, I'd go get standard action figures. Oh, God, I forgot words there. But yeah, but even then, I would still buy all the books, continue reading the comics, and, you know, as I think it was around that time they really started doing the web series, the various text ones or audio-based ones, whatever they were, and you know, followed it all the way up till the end, and was probably just as disappointed as everyone else when the online stuff ceased to be, even though they had said that it would continue until the end.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
We're going to get that resolution.
No, we've gotten bits and pieces since, of course, but it's not the same. It's not the same as having it done.
Yeah.
So,
but that's essentially that's mostly my journey. It's something we talked about before the show, because we were talking about YouTube, and going into the Bionicle community, I was very much involved there throughout my time with Bionicle. A lot of, did YouTube. I actually had my own website for a time called City of Legends, obviously named after Metro Nui. And to put it bluntly, it was a Biosector 01 ripoff entirely. I straight up copied text from there and put it on my own site. I was a little piece of crap.
I'm friends with Swart, the guy who runs it, so I'll have to tattle.
I never got to meet him, but he's always seemed like a very cool guy from my brief interactions from back in the day. I don't know.
You might actually have a chance to meet him this year. Because he's going to be in the where you're headed somewhere later this year. Have you announced it? Is this something you want to talk about across the state?
I don't mind. I mean, there's two things I can think of, and you can tell me which one it is. There's Halo Outpost Discovery at the start of August, and then PAX at the end of August / start of September.
It's PAX.
Those are the two. Okay, PAX.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, no, Swart's in Washington, so I don't know if he's going to PAX. He might be going to PAX, so you might actually run into him there.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I can say, I'm sorry for being a little piece of crap when I was a kid. Yeah, that lasted that site lasted for a year, and I am very much happy to never think about it again, except to admit what a little piece of crap I was. But other than that, did standard stuff. Drew art of humanoid bionicles back in the day, because who didn't? Sorry, humanoid bionicle.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. I do that sometimes, and I catch myself, and I'm like, Ian, what the heck?
I understand.
Yeah.
It happens.
But,
it happens to the best of us.
We all make mistakes.
Of course.
But so I did humanoid bionicle. Did my own fanfics back in the day that are, I don't know if BZ Power ever cleared out their old archives of old posts, so maybe it's still there. Who knows? Actually, back at that time, my username was Toa Takao, which it was supposed to be Toa Takua, but I misspelled Takua as Takau. Yeah.
Oh man, they so BZP did wipe their archives, but not willingly. They got hacked. The hacker took the archives, held them for ransom, and they did get them back. Unfortunately, by the time they got them back, they were incompatible and are no longer online.
That's so sad.
It is.
On so many levels. But I'm kind of fine with my old fanfics being lost forever.
Yeah, for some people it worked out very well. Like, are you familiar at all with Majhost?
The name sounds familiar, but I couldn't say for sure.
Okay, another question. Are you familiar with Brickshelf?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so...
I think primarily through the Three Virtues channel, the TTV channel.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Yeah. It's like I was telling you before the show started. I think it was right before G2 was announced. I was getting nostalgic for Bionicle, so started doing some YouTube dives. Eventually came across your channel and your own reviews, which I thoroughly enjoy.
I'm very glad.
And I think Brickshelf might have been mentioned a few times among there briefly, but I think that was the first. I could swear that was it. It's either that or I'm on the Bionicle Lego Reddit, and people talk about Brickshelf all the time there. So.
Yeah, that's fair. The reason I bring it up is because Brickshelf exists obviously as a Lego hosting platform for photos, and Majhost was kind of the non-Lego offshoot. Yes,
that reminds me of a couple things. But if you want to make your point first, I'll hold off.
Yeah, I'll be very quick. So in the same way that BZ Power went down, Majhost also went down. However, it's totally offline. It's still offline right now. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes reasons as to why. Bottom line, investigators. But it's down. All my old comics, because I used to do comics on BZ Power, all of them are now no longer on the internet. So I'm stoked. It's like, well, quality of any content I've made online has just gone up. But
yeah, I actually had some comics that were hosted on Majhost. I don't remember I did make some Bionicle comics that were hosted there, but main ones actually were Sprite comics, Mega Man comics. If everyone has ever heard of Bob and George, a classic webcomic.
I have not.
Made entirely. Yeah, that's a really old one. If you ever, I don't know if it's still around, but it was made with Mega Man sprites, and I had tried to to do that. If I saw it, I tried to imitate it as a kid.
Yeah, no, I get that. But that's what I did on BZP as well, Sprite Comics, and I did that for I want to say 7 or 8 years.
Yeah. What's the guy that made I'm trying to remember the dude's name who is famous for all his Bionicle sprites that he made.
Dark 709?
Maybe. He's made. I know his sprites were used in Spartan Runner. Quick Halo reference there.
Inner Rage.
Yes. I remember using all of his Oh my god, that sprite art was so beautiful.
It's dude, the guy. So he made a variety of different sprite kits. He made the Halo one that is immensely popular, of course. He also made, I want to say, 4 different Bionicle sprite kits. It's just called the Rage kit, and I used Rage 2.0 for my series. I got to meet him, I think, 2 years ago. He's a super, super swell guy.
Oh, I bet that sounds awesome because those sprites were.
Yeah,
and I know I used the not Bionicle, the Halo ones for a web series I made called Red versus Black, which was which was based on Red versus Blue, of course.
What? No.
What is an original thought? I don't know. That one's actually still on Newgrounds, and it's as bad as you would imagine, considering it's called Red versus Black.
Mm-hmm.
But swinging back to Maj Host, another thing that I had up there that are these ones I actually I'm sad they're gone, were a bunch of Bionicle music videos, which I have a few on YouTube still under a channel called Toa Freak 27. But there were some really, really old ones that I had hosted on Maj Host that are obviously gone now.
Now, wait. You had music videos hosted on Maj Host?
I'm pretty sure. I might be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure I had some uploaded there.
I'm
they would have
confident
been
that's probably really possible. Old. It's just I'm sitting here unable to fathom how long that must have taken to upload.
I don't know, man. Like, this is back when AOL was still a popular internet provider. So
yeah,
who knows? I couldn't tell you how long they took to upload. I'll tell you that they were like, what is it, like 144p Windows Movie Maker music videos.
Those bring back such vivid memories. It's been so long since I've even seen Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah.
Or 144.
Bionicle music videos was actually how I developed music taste to this day. Because people would make some awesome music videos set to fantastic songs. Like, the one that will always stick out in my mind was, I don't remember who made it, but it was a Bionicle music video set to What's Left of the Flag by, I think, the Flocking Mollies. But it's great Celtic rock. There we go.
Okay.
And that heavily influenced my modern taste in music there. And there's other ones. There were some edgier music videos as we got to the years of the Roxy that really informed my teen years when it comes to music. So Bionicles just had a lifelong impact.
You're telling me.
Yeah. And then switching over to YouTube, we did talk about YouTube. There's Bionicle music videos. There was something else I could swear that I was thinking of, and now I'll tell you. I can tell you this fun story: the origin behind my usewusername, Toa Freak.
Yes, we talked about that very briefly. Yeah. I want to hear this.
Yeah, because it's had its evolution over the years. So it actually started when I want to say it was somewhere like 11 or 12. So early days of Bionicle, and I was at a website making class at a local college. Like, they would do. Send your kids to these classes over the summer so they're doing something during the day, which was much preferable to going to a daycare center, let me tell you. But I digress. They had a lot of different stuff. One of them was website development, and as part of that, it was just like using Dreamweaver, very simple stuff, but a lot of fun. And as part of that, you would actually upload a website to the web using GeoCities. And I don't know if I was making a Bionicle site or something else, but I wanted to create my GeoCities site. And being 12 and into Bionicle, I created Toa Freak 27. I don't know why. I can never tell you why I ever went with 27, because there's no other Toa Freaks. I am Toa Freak. That's it. Period. Mm-hmm. Jeff Bridges is the dude. I am Toa Freak. There you go. But for whatever reason, it was Toa Freak 27. And these days I entirely stick to Toa Freak, but I would kind of be on and off. Like BZ Power, I was Toa Freak for a bit, then I was Toa Takao, and I probably created other accounts in my time there.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, not on BZP.
No, on BCP.
Oh, never mind. Back to the
Yeah.
Anyway, very much so frowned on dupe accounts.
Yeah. So I don't know. But eventually the Toho Freak 27 thing came. There was a lore developed around it to explain why it was Toho Freak 27, and that I think had its origins in a Bionicle fan site. For the life of me, I couldn't tell you what it was called. I don't remember, but there were like a handful of members, and we actively talked with each other. It was like an IRC chat, almost more than a forum. But we all developed lore around our characters, and me being very artistically inclined, wanted to make comics based on that. And so for my character, the 27 indicated which personality was in control. So he had 30 distinct personalities. At one point, I actually had a list detailing like what each personality's quirk was. And there was supposed to be all this. There was going to be this epic story about how Toho Freak got split into his 30 different personalities, and he had to go hunt down each one. And 26 was like the main bad guy for a lot of really weird stuff.
So you had total rights to split before it ever became a movie.
Yeah. Never pursued it though.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so that's where the 27 eventually got explained. And then eventually, obviously, just dropped it because, why have numbers after the name? But funny enough, the 27 stuck around until, like, probably 2014, 2013, somewhere in there. So it stuck around for a long time. But yeah.
I can say that because I've seen a lot of usernames with numbers, of course, in the Bionicle community. I'm sure they're synonymous with usernames generally. But I dodged that. I can firmly say I've never had a username with numbers in it.
There you go.
And before any TTV fans ask, no, Rude Dude 33 doesn't count. That was a ploy, okay? It was for a gag. Thank you. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about Bionicle and kind of your thoughts on how it progressed. Because, see, I'm at this stage right now because I usually have a lot of different guests on, either about general LEGO and system or specifically about Bionicle. And whenever I have my system guests on, I have to kind of quell exactly how much Bionicle jargon I expel, because at some point it starts sounding like I'm speaking another dialect. But I'm not like, can I take the weight cufflinks off and just like toss them to the ground and just go wild? I don't know.
Go for it. If I get confused, I'll just say that's just my fault.
Okay, fair enough, and I'll do my best to explain. So, with 2000, well, not just with 2001. Let's talk a little bit about Bionicle and how it progressed. So you said that you kind of got out of it around 2006, the Voya Nui years, and then 2007, Mari Nui, and so on and so forth, because a lot of the functionality kind of faded away.
Yeah.
So, that being the case, what did you think about Bionicle in its early years with the Matanui trilogy, then the Metronui saga, and then as you followed the story going further, how it went all the way up until the end? How did you feel about that progression?
Well, the Matanui years, that's what I was thinking. Matanui years were obviously like the golden age of Bionicle for me. Both in terms of story and in terms of sets, mainly sets. Looking back on it now, I'll tell you, like, as a guy who always loved Tahu, or would say Tahu was my favorite character, looking back, it annoys me how much Tahu's character would just get reset if they start at the beginning of the next story arc. Like, at the end of 2001, he learned the value of teamwork and friendship or whatever. And then when they became Toa Nuva, it's like all of a sudden, oh, I forgot all about that. Or at least that's the sense I get.
I understand why you have that sense. It's not as bad as that. So in 2001, they never really... The characterization in Bionicle is fascinating because it's balanced delicately. So, and I mean, it has to be because you have such a large cast of characters. So with the Toa Mata specifically, they do actually get really good character development for what it's worth, for the screen time they get.
Yeah, overall, I think they do.
So in 2001, and for full disclosure, I think 2001, it's my favorite year. I think it's one of the best years, period. And it's not just because it's the first one. I'm not a G1er. It's just because they didn't intend it to be this open-ended, like this just void of any actual story content. But it ended up being that way. And so I look at 2001 as a lot of a sandbox year. It's very open to interpretation. You can make your own stories. There are so few illustrations or alliterations of the Toa getting their Kanohi masks that you can make your own story and it fits fine. You can have a story of Liwa getting his Cow or Onua getting his How. And it works because those aren't illustrated and you only need the island, the character, the mask. Period. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps that 2001 doesn't have a whole lot of content in it, and B, doesn't have a strong focus on the Toa. Very unintentional, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't. So there isn't actually a whole lot of character development that goes into it. At the very end, they don't actually realize, oh hey, we're buddies. They're just like, oh hey, throw everything we can at him. All of the dodgeballs of every element, chuck them that way. And they do it, and it works.
You're not wrong.
And then they go up to the Kini Nui, and then right away the Borak happen. So they don't really get a whole lot of time to actually talk and associate, because the entirety of 2001 takes place over maybe a week or two. It's not a very long period of time. And eventually, like his main character development actually finally starts to happen in 03 with Mask of Light, with the whole Lee Rock thing and so on. And it actually comes to a really wonderful crescendo? The climax?
Mm-hmm.
It actually...
Crescendo would be the music version of that, yeah.
Fair enough. The fruition happens in 08. Tahu actually does remember everything, and he becomes a fully realized character, and has gone through everything, and has learned all of his lessons, and has actually become who he is supposed to be. But I do understand why you have that impression of Tahu from 01. It does make sense.
Yeah.
I can tell
I think that's mainly because there's a certain impression given by the Matt Nui online game that they kind of get this power friendship, for lack of a better phrase, feeling. And then, at the time, that wasn't considered canon. So it makes sense that that other media would have his story arc.
Mm-hmm.
Would kind of have a similar story arc, or a similar story arc to what I perceived from the Matt Nui online game overall. Mm-hmm. It's a minor thing overall anyway. I still absolutely, those first 3 years are definitely the golden years for me. The golden age, if you will.
I mean, that's what they're called in the community. Those three are the golden years.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, from a story perspective, how did you like the progression from there on? I think you and I can both agree. First 3 years, al dente, cooked to perfection. But past that, what did you think?
Well, I think I'm going to go year by year, because after,
please.
2001 to 2003 very much feels like this planned story arc. And I know there's a lot of planning that went into that. I'm familiar with, I've seen Christian Faber's, blogs about how much of Bionicle was planned, which to this day blows my mind how much was planned out in advance in at least some form.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to, I'll tell you, I don't remember what comic issue it was, but getting to the end of 2003 and just Vakam on the beach saying, "You are not the first Toa." Like,
yeah.
What? If
Yeah, no,
mind
totally.
Freaking blown. Oh my god. And then we had to wait, I don't know how, 2 months or something to get the answers on that. I think was when, I don't remember how long it was between the end of the 2003 story arc and the start of the Metro Nui comics or Metro Nui books, whichever came out first. Mm-hmm. My media timeline isn't very defined.
Well, let me think. Which one are you wondering? Which came first, chicken or the egg?
Comics or books? Which came out in 2004 to continue to start the Metro Nui line? Which of those media came out first?
Let me see. Metro Nui. I'm reasonably confident. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it was the comic, but let me fact check that first, but continue in the meantime.
Like, comics is what I feel, but anyway. So, and I'll say, overall, the Metro Nui storyline for 2004, the Morbuzak, dealing with Straga Duma, I absolutely loved it. It's, in some ways, it's almost better than some of the 2001 to 2003 story in some ways, and in some ways it lacks. But I could at least put it on par with a lot of those earlier stories. Just because Vakama was a lot of fun. It was awesome to see all these Turaga that we'd gotten to know as Toa, especially as amateur Toa that had no idea what the hell they were. Mm-hmm. Matau especially.
Matau is always the best.
Yes.
Let me see here.
And the characterization around Vakama, like, very much instantly endeared me to him. Yeah. I cannot words.
Don't worry. I do that all the time.
Yeah. But, so yeah, overall 2004 was very solid, I think. 2005 it had a lot of promise. Web of the Vizorak, I think, was the title of the first. Very much had this horror feeling to it that sadly I think kind of disappeared as the year went on. And of course, the infamous turn of Vakama to the dark side, as it were, which I don't necessarily think it couldn't have been done well, but it wasn't.
I think I agree. It could have been done better. For the record, by the way. So the book came out in the comic came out in January. The book came out in February.
Okay, so yeah, and I think there was a 2-year gap, or not 2-month gap between Vakama saying "You're not the last Toa" and the January comic, which introduced us to Metro Nui.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not gonna.
I think they were.
Oh wait, no. There's a full list.
Yeah, I could swear the comics were bi-monthly.
Yeah.
Then.
Okay, yeah. So November and then December, January.
Yeah.
So it's about a month or two.
Yeah, there we go. Mm-hmm. But that was the worst wait. Yeah, then 2005 came around. It started off strong enough, but at the end of the day, I didn't enjoy it as much as previous years. Especially when the movie came out, Web of Shadows. That I did not. Sidorak was nothing like how I'd imagined books and the comics. Radaka was pretty spot on, I'd say. And of course, it was when I was 15, so Radaka,
popular set
character. Yeah, very popular character. The comics were still pretty good overall, and I liked one that always sticks out of my mind was Radaka telling her backstory to a Vizorak. It's kind of a weird framing device, but I liked the backstory and a look at how her species society was like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the movie just didn't do much for me.
Yeah, I can agree wholeheartedly with that. It kind of goes understated how different in the Bionicle community. It's understated exactly how different Sidorak is from book, comic to movie.
Yeah.
It's night and day difference.
Yeah, very much so. But I'm still able to enjoy it overall. And of course, I think really 2005 was where, like, in addition to the story beats kind of being a little iffy for me, that's where I think we first started seeing functionality start to disappear, because a lot of it was just surrounding the Ratuka, the Ratuka spinners. You know, that was your cool function. That was novel for a couple of minutes, but kind of got old for me very quickly. But this is also, I was 15 at the time.
2005, it did see, so the last actual function wasn't just the Ratuka. It was the arm gear,
the Hortica arms.
Yeah,
and I think, and Sidorak's like claw arm,
yeah,
or sword arm, and then Radaka and Kitangu's flippy things.
Yeah,
Kitangu had the shields. Rataka had the what did they call it? The Rataka catcher, I think.
The
something like that.
Oh gosh, I think you're right. Let me double check the name. I think it's Ratuka Catcher.
Yeah. I remember they were really cool in the sets, and in the movie they were just
Catcher claws.
Catcher claws.
Yeah.
But they were the versions of the Ratuka shield and the catcher claws in the movies were just terrible. I think Katanga's one. They were just big sticks with things on the end of them. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Rag on that movie more. I still overall enjoy it, but God, did it? I think it made some missteps.
Oh yeah.
And then and then in the sets themselves, functionality was kind of starting to be phased out as people wanted more. Yeah, and I won't blame Lego. They went for what their audience at the time was looking for, which was posability. By that time I was 15. I was kind of out of the target demographic age. I remember talking about that on BZ Power actually. A few discussions coming up like that. It's like, these older teenager and adult Bionicle fans that kind of felt like this wasn't for them anymore. And it's like, well, yeah, it's not. But I digress.
Yeah.
So, and actually, fun fact: to this day, 2005 sets that's as far as I own for G1 sets. Now, I did continue to buy into 2007 because I used to have the Anika, the Voyatorin, Paraka, all the Titans from that time, and then into 2007 with the Mari. I think I got the first half of that wave, but eventually I sold them all off on eBay.
Okay.
As we got into 2006 with the Anika, it was all about the posability. I did not care much for the glow in the dark. It was a cool novelty, but I didn't care about it. The light up swords, I didn't care about it. But again, to Lego's credit, they were playing to their target demographic, which was, again, no longer me. Some of those sets I actually gave away to my younger cousins years later, and they loved it. They loved it. So in that regard, Lego clearly knew their target audience. But again, not really much for me. But even if I was kind of iffy on the sets, I was really excited for the story. Voya Nui, this new island, what is it? It's so mysterious. Felt very much, initially, it felt very 2001 again, with all this new mystery. And I think it got off to a pretty good start, especially with the comics. I don't remember the name of the artist that they brought in for the Anika series, but his art is beautiful. Oh my God. I could gush about it for hours. It hit this very mysterious and almost horror-esque tone very well. I talked about how at the start of the Vizirac horror-esque theme with the Vizirac. I think they nailed it much stronger in 2006 than they did with the Vizirac, when it comes to the comics, at least. To this day, if that artist is involved with a project, with a comic, I will buy that comic just for his art. Some of my favorite.
I think he still does comic work. I know that.
Yes, yeah.
So the comic artist is Stuart Sager.
Thank you.
Stuart Sager. Stuart Sager. There we go. He still has comics. Yeah, I've heard your perspective on this, but well, not yours specifically, but I know a lot of people who share your opinion on his comics. Personally speaking, he was my least favorite of the artists, but that's just because my familiarity with comics are the Carlos Anda works from 01 to 02. The super detailed.
Those are gorgeous. Oh my God. Yeah. For a long time, that influenced the kind of art that I wanted to do as an artist.
Yeah. But no, I totally get where you're coming from. It's very atmospheric.
Yes.
Sturt's artwork. It has a lot of atmosphere. It has a lot of... It's very unique. It's awfully striking and characteristic. Yeah.
And for me, it felt that it fit the themes of Voya Nui that Lego was going for at that time. But talking about general story, I kind of lost interest. I wouldn't, not necessarily lost interest, but it wasn't as interesting again, similar to 2005. It started out very strong, I think, and then kind of petered off towards the end. Although, actually, going back to 2005 for a second, after, I think it was 2005 at least, was when these came out. When they did the post Hortica books.
Oh
there
yeah,
there might have only been the one, but one that I always remember, and I had to talk about this because I think it's still my favorite Bionicle book. I think it was called Time Trap.
Oh yeah,
and it's when Vakama goes back to retrieve the Vahi Mask of Time, and it's one of my favorite moments to cite to people unfamiliar with the Bionicle lore as just one of these amazing moments. Is Vakama and Makuta are fighting over the Mask of Time, and Vakama figures out what he's got to do. He threatens to smash the Mask of Time, unleash these chaotic time force. He talks about how one day Makuta will kill him and he'll be back the next day to fight again. Vakama literally willing to put out his life on the line for all eternity to stop Makuta, and that resonated with me for years, even till now. It's just one of those brilliant moments of storytelling that stick out in my mind.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what it's a fan favorite for sure, and there's good reason for it. It's an excellent book. Yeah. I know exactly which ones you're talking about. The post, there's Time Trap. There was one in between 04 and 05 that's called Voyage of Fear. That's also a fascinating one.
That is.
But Time Trap's really solid. I will never not recommend the book Downfall from 07.
Oh yes.
I definitely think that book alone is a strong reason why I think 07 is a super strong year, story-wise.
Yeah, story-wise, it definitely was. Back to wrapping up with 06, though. Story started out strong, kind of went iffy for me towards the end. I think his name was Vizon was kind of interesting, but it never felt like they used him as much. Maybe my misremembering on that regard. You can correct me, but it felt like there was a lot of build-up, and then there wasn't much in the way of delivery. But it's been a long time since I've read the books and comics from that year, so I could be wrong in that regard.
You're kind of right. He was more of an end boss thing, at least as far as the main story is concerned. There were some fan complaints eventually of actually oversaturation because he ended up showing it in a lot of the online serials. And people
I do remember those. Actually, I loved those when they continued with using him after Voyanui.
Yeah, I thought
he was
it
a
worked
fascinating
out.
Character. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but there were some people who were like, "All right, this is too much Vazon. Stop it. We don't want him anymore," and so on and so forth.
Oh, those poor unfortunate souls. But let's see. The big thing that always sticks out in my mind is like that. I think that was the year where I really became very aware of how companies would try to hit market to their demographics, because I still like the Anika advertising with the All American Rejects song, but Yo Yo Paraka, dude, even at that time, I cringed.
When that stuff kills me. It kills me every time.
Yeah, Yo Yo Paraka. I'll look back on it with joy now, but in that same way, it's like, oh god, this was terrible.
Yeah, I grew up disliking rap. I still dislike rap. So I
never disliked rap, but that's very much like the modern companies like, yo, what up, kiddos?
Hello, my fellow kids. Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Exactly.
Somebody should post that over there.
My question is, who were they advertising the Paraka to? Don't get me wrong, I get the rap. I totally get the rap. My thing is, why in the world would your tagline be, "The gang is on the loose"? And there's a commercial of them in a police lineup. Are you advertising gang activity? What's going on, Lego?
Yeah.
what demographic are you trying to get?
But, I don't know. It must. I don't know I don't know how well that campaign kind of numbers on that. Because obviously they never did that again for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And thank goodness.
I don't know. I've heard a variety of different things pertaining to how well that year did. I've heard it did do well. It was definitely a spike. But then 07 just bottomed out entirely.
Oh, I bet.
So,
which is unfortunate because 07 reinvigorated for Bionicle for me from a story perspective, but that was definitely the final nail in the coffin. That was the last year I bought Bionicle sets until the Stars series in 2010, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically until the end of Bionicle. And eventually all the sets from 2006 and 2007 were given away or sold on eBay. One of the two, depending on the sets. Mm-hmm. I might still have like a couple of them that I never managed to get rid of, but all my Bionicle stuff is in a storage unit these days.
You got to break them out one of these days. Take a picture and show everyone.
Well, the problem is I don't have the space for it.
Nah, that makes sense. That's fair.
Yeah. So when I make it big on YouTube and can buy a house with 20 rooms, then I'll pull out the Bionicle figures. That'd be my dream. Is a room for my Halo, a room for my Bionicles. I have so many figures. I have all the figures for 2005. I have so many posters. My childhood room used to be nothing but wall-to-wall Bionicle in some way or another.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, there is, to me, nothing more satisfying than being able to physically look up, and see every Bionicle set ever released in a single place. It's a very... Yeah. And the thing is, you don't even need to have every set to have that feeling, because I still look at other people's collections and go, that's a good collection.
Yeah.
If you have just a good collection, you can have that exact same feeling, and it's so good. It's invigorating.
Mm-hmm. I would literally spend hours just looking at my collection, and especially in 2003, and that was when I finally got the Takanuva and sets. Like, yes,
yeah,
this is it.
Yeah,
but going back to 2007, so yeah, reinvigorated the story for me, especially the Creeps from the Deep commercial. I remember Lego teasing that, and then it finally released. Such hype in the community at the time for that video. And of course, that was the formal introduction of Cryo Shell, which is always interesting. I still love their music, but
it's so good.
Mm-hmm. But so that was very interesting time. But set wise, I bought the first wave with the Toa Mari and the Mari Torin. Always trying to remember the community names for the Matoran. I always loved that. Mictorin, Metruin, Voyatorin, and
Mari Torin.
Mari Torin, I think.
Yep.
Were the ones that come in. Oh, and of course the Mol Torin, MOL Torin from 2000. How could I forget those?
I've always taken personally to calling them the 03 Matoran, which is a tad more cumbersome. But yeah, Mol Torin is another popular one.
Yeah, that's the one I remember. Actually, fun fact from 2003, I was one of the people that did not believe Takua was the Toa of Light. So, if anyone remembers that great debate, who's going to be the Toa of Light? Some people figured out that it was Takua, not me. I'm like, no, it can't be Takua.
That's fair.
I don't remember why I was so ardently against that idea, but I was. I'm very much, even to this day, I'm very much if I pick an opinion, I'm going to plant my feet in the ground on that.
That actually, before we continue on through the years, I have a question for you. I don't know if you knew this or not. I'm going to assume you knew this because it's a trivia fact that came out kind of after the fact. Takua, canonically, is the first Matoran created, period.
I do vaguely remember hearing something about that, but...
How do you feel about that?
I would say, Like, it seems kind of, like, at worst, it seems like kind of, okay, why did you decide to do that? Mm-hmm. But, it doesn't really harm anything. It doesn't harm my enjoyment of the series by any stretch. Mm-hmm. So...
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. I was just curious because I've seen a lot of different reactions to that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like had I been more active in the community at the time, maybe I would have had a different reaction than now. So like I said, it sounds familiar, but I couldn't tell you for sure if I actually knew that before. Mm-hmm. I might be, in my head, it might be getting I might be getting a little cross-wired.
Yeah.
As Matt's would say.
Just another cross-wired freak. No.
Yep.
But yeah.
So in 2007, last year, I bought sets. Eventually sold them off, but the story was still interesting, and I kept up to date with it through the books, through the online serials, and through the commercials. Mm-hmm. And 2008 afterwards, everything of my exposure to sets was purely from the commercials, which so I can't really comment too much on them other than aesthetically. Like the
Fair.
I'll say this: the Toa Fantoka almost got me to want to buy the sets again, but then the Toa, I don't remember what the other group was called, Mystica. The Toa Mystica just killed my interest. Tahu, Gali, and Anawa just looked terrible. They just that adaptive armor just. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like, especially after the Fantoka, they looked so good. Pohatu looked like Pohatu. Kopaka looked like Kopaka. Liwa looked like Liwa. You know, they looked so good. Mm-hmm. And then the Mystica just looked. For one thing, they looked very bare bones by comparison. Like they looked like stick figures.
Yeah.
But then the masks, like it wouldn't have been so bad if it weren't for the masks. The masks were just terrible for me, and I couldn't enjoy that.
That's the thing. It's like the Fantoka and the Mystica, from a set perspective. I'm going to go a little set reviewy here. From a set perspective, they're totally fine. They're average. They're purely average. There are some intricacies that they all have, idiosyncrasies, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with the Fantoka and the Mystica, at their core, is that they fail at being adaptions, which is ironic given the name of their armor. They don't do a good job being representations of the characters they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The Avatar in that year were interesting, learning where Bo-Rock come from. Again, lore-wise, I still was very fascinated with everything. Loved learning more about the Brotherhood of Makuta. I'll be one of the few people that I think, because I don't have much exposure outside of what I remember from the time, but learning Makuta's true name, the Pterodax,
mm-hmm.
I won't say I didn't have a negative reaction, but I don't think it was ever as severe, I guess,
mm-hmm.
as it had been for some other people. And these days, I actually like knowing it, to the point that I am still annoyed that we don't know the Shadowed One's name.
Well, I
want to know what it is.
It came down to a vote.
I know, and I hate whoever voted against it. I hate you all. I've never met you, but I hate you.
It's very fascinating looking at the reception to that, because a lot of people, especially nowadays, will say, as soon as we learned his name, his mysterious nature just flew out the window. Pterodax? Terror, we get it. But it's like, listen, you gotta be... It was voted. It was democratically decided. It was a pure, plain and simple poll. Which one do you want to know more? Pterodax or the Shadowed One's name? The Shadowed One... See, when Makuta became a species, the necessity for Pterodax to be hidden went out the window.
Yeah. I could not imagine had they tried to continue telling that story while still calling Makuta or Pterodax Makuta when he got all these other Makuta running around too.
Yeah, like Bittle, Gorast, Antraz, etc. Exactly. But the Shadowed One, his whole thing is mystery. Pterodax, he was more of an atmosphere almost. And I understand why people don't like how he was portrayed in Mask of Light, because it drifted away from the kind of more ideological aspect of Makuta.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, listen, as the story progresses, the Brotherhood becomes a thing. His name is Pterodax. Yeah. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. But I did love seeing all the Makuta, the different types of Makuta. You had your classic, like, megalomaniacal Makuta, and then you had some very philosophical ones in a lot of ways. They weren't necessarily evil. It's like, some of them were just, this is what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what makes Krika such a fan favorite.
Yes, Krika, thank you. That was my favorite Makuta.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember his name, but he was the one that captured my interest that year.
Yeah. No, I definitely, listen, if you ever want set recommendations, I don't know anyone better to ask. But Krika's really fascinating. He's a good twist on things. He's a good spin.
Yeah.
And I think that the way he went out in the story was really good. It was very fitting for him.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Oh, no.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me of something I forgot from 2007. I did cry when Motaro sacrificed himself.
Yes.
I'll own up to that.
That's why...
That was beautiful. That was beautiful from a lore perspective, from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah, that's why I highly recommend. It's not just because of the Matora Sacrifice, but I highly recommend Downfall as a book generally.
Yeah.
Because it hits all the notes. There's some good characterization from Matoro. Jala. Holly even has some really shining moments. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of stuff going on. There are a lot of...
I know Jala and Holly.
It's not canon, dang it! It's not! Okay?
Darn it, Greg! I want it to be canon. It's so adorable.
No! It was one flower on the mask, and that's all you get!
Yeah.
But,
and a little look in Mask of Light.
You're gonna forget about that look, or else you'll be made to forget it. But Downfall's just a really solid book all around, and Matora's Sacrifice, obviously, is a large part of that.
Mm-hmm. Then, of course, 2008 comes to an end with The Awakening of Mount Nui, and I think everyone else was just as blown away when he wakes up. It's a giant robot. That was cool. I personally never saw that coming. I think some people did, but personally never did. I thought that was awesome. And then the eyes turn red. It's like, no, Makuta won!
Yeah.
Or did he? As the Mask of Light gets blasted out into space. Or Mask of Life. Did I say Mask of Light?
I do that all the time.
Yeah. They're very... Yeah. Hey, remember the MOL? Wait, the Mask of Life or the Mask of Light? I remember people abbreviating like both of them as the same. It's like... You can't even do MOL and MOLI to differentiate them because they...
Right.
So
I've seen some people when talking about the Mask of Life, they go MOLE. Sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen that. That one works a bit better.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, no. What did you think about that? I love how they did the reveal because it was first of all, that's Matt Nui, the literal first time we ever saw him, and then boom, immediately, the rug is taken out from under everyone, and it's Makuta.
Yeah, it's Makuta's in there. I remember the Toa Nuva looking up and like they're being celebrated in Mata Nui, and then the stars rearrange themselves into the Mask of Shadows. Oh, jeez.
It was really.
You think you won? You think you completed your destiny, but no, Makuta won. Like, and just think about that. That's like that was how many years? Like 1,000 or like tens of thousands of years in the making to get to that point. Plans within plans within plans. Oh my god! I'll tell you, there are a lot of series that I'm into where they have like these villains that they have like all these intricate plans and backup plans and failsafes. None have ever convinced me of it as well as Makuta did. Mm-hmm. That they're capable of that level of planning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going off into anime for a second, when Aizen says, "Oh, I planned everything from the start," it's like, no, you didn't. You're a piece of crap. Shut up, Makuta. I planned everything from the beginning. That's brilliant.
Yeah. No, I think for the most part they did Pterodax very well. There are a couple of things where it's like, but did you though?
Yeah.
Which would be like the most notably Takanuva beating him.
Yeah.
And I think a couple others I'm failing to remember. But yeah, no, I agree. I think Pterodax, maybe we're biased, but I think Pterodax was very well executed.
Yeah, it very well could be a bias, but I think it's probably because of the constant presence he had, the constant coming back. Mm-hmm. I'm just remembered just now the very end of the Borak Kal animations from Templar Studios when they defeat the Barag and you think, oh, everything's good, and then there's that familiar swirling mass from the Mount Nui online game, and Makuta just appears and
yeah, that really, I can't describe that laugh as anything other than Halloweeny.
Yeah, it very much is, but it fit for those animations, I think. But even still, it very much it got me so hyped for the Rockshi at that time.
Yeah.
2009,
right. Yes,
I think is where I stopped following. I know I didn't have the comics in 2009. I think it just kind of gave up on Brickmaster, or if that was still the way to get them. I think
it was. Yeah.
I don't remember if I have the books or not. I know I was still buying any guides available, and definitely still buying, or not buying, but still listening to the online serials. Mm-hmm. But the Glatorian, like in concept, the whole Bara Magna and Spherus Magna stuff was fascinating, but I don't know. Maybe I was I was 19 at the time, just started college around that, so I don't know if maybe I just. And at that time, I was really getting into Halo a lot more, so there's a lot of things that I might have started falling out of Bionicle for a variety of reasons. Overall.
Yeah, I can understand that. A lot of people had similar sentiments. Granted, a lot of people just kind of dropped off because they hated the concept. Because, like, you spent 8 years in the Matorn universe with Toa, Tahu, and Jala, and so on and so forth.
I can definitely understand. So it was a risk for LEGO and mixed results. Mostly, I think, negative, since the next year was the last year.
Yeah, basically. I understand why they did it. Because they needed to do something new and fresh.
Yeah.
And
it's like the same reasoning behind why Generation 2 is entirely divorced from Generation 1. It's like by 2008, there's so much lore and terminology. I mean, dear God, you could almost speak in the Bionicle language because of all the different we had so many terms for everything.
Heck, think about it. So the Avmatoran transform into the Borak, which are operated by the Krana, and then they are teleported over into the Hive Swarm that is under the island of Matanui. Matanui of which not only being an island, but also being a giant robot created by the Great Beings on Spherus Magna when the Core War happened, and the Glatorian and the Agori were fighting over the resource Energized Protodermis, which actually runs the Matoran universe itself, which is also known as Matanui, which temporarily was run by Tren Chrome. Now, back to the Borak and the Matoran. The Borak are run by Krana, obviously, and they're et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. It gets so insanely deep, which I personally love, but you're an 8-year-old kid. Oh my God, that's got to be intimidating. I can't imagine that.
It's still intimidating.
So, yeah. So even with all that extra deep lore, just the Glatorian was almost like a soft reboot. At least it felt like it. To try and say, okay, we're a new setting. We don't need as much baggage, at least for a little while, from everything that's come before. So we can try and have something almost of a fresh start. But it still ended up having kind of the same baggage, all these different specialized terms. But yeah. And the movie, we, of course, had our first Bionicle movie that year since 2005.
Yep.
What was it called?
The Legend Reborn.
Legend Reborn, yeah. It's right here to my left on my DVD shelf. Fun fact, that I actually won a copy of that movie off of a website. Doing a giveaway. That is probably the only online giveaway I have ever won, and it was for a Bionicle piece of maybe not it's I don't know if I can call it my least favorite Bionicle movie. It's kind of hard to say between that and Web of Shadows, but I still enjoy it.
I can say for me it's Web of Shadows. Fun fact,
I can understand why.
This might make you feel a little older. September 15th this year is its 10-year anniversary.
Oh man! Oh man, it is. Holy crap! Wow.
Yep, 10 years of the Legend Reborn.
Jeez.
But
yeah, it was an okay movie. I'll tell you, Michael Dorn as Matanui. I don't think you could get better casting.
Right,
it's probably the best casting at Bionicles and Scott McNeil as Tahu.
I 100% agreed. And it's definitely classes above casting Dale Wilson as Lewa. Okay, anyway. But, I mean, it's also a very quotable movie. Like, the writing isn't the best, but...
All endings are merely beginnings waiting to be born.
Yeah.
My beginning was just the same.
It's a very...
Yeah.
There are a lot of good quotes about it. I don't think a day has gone by where I've used the phrase, shoes on the other foot, but instead the metal claws on the other foot.
Oh God!
Every single time.
And overall, the voice casting was really good. The animation. So you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to say Web of Shadows is the worst Bionicle movie.
I don't.
I'm going to agree with you there.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Bionicle movies, fun fact. You know how in Legend of Metro Nui, the DVD, they have questions that were asked by fans that they answered?
Yeah.
You know how there's one that was asked by an Ian in the United States?
No.
That was my question.
No.
Or at least I, as an Ian, asked that question, that exact question. I don't know. Maybe some other Ian did as well. but that was the exact question I asked.
What? Oh my gosh!
Unfortunately, I can never get confirmation if that was mine or not. Again, who knows? Who knows how many Ians there are in the United States? Thousands, at least thousands, probably more, but tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's not the most common name, but there are a lot of Ians.
But what are the chances?
Yeah, exactly. What are the chances that somebody else worded it just like that?
Goodness, that's really cool. I've obviously been very involved in the community, but I've never actually been involved in the other side of Bionicle, which is, I'd never entered any of the contests and won, or never sent anything in that was posted anywhere. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah. So that's my one claim to fame when it comes to my... I want that DVD.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm so glad I remembered to mention that.
I'm glad too.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great.
Yep. That's my bragging rights in this community. What have you done lately? Oh, you got in a book? I got it on a DVD. No, dude. Oh, I'll tell you. Those books were like all the fan creation, all the fan raw he got in. That was probably I think that's the coolest thing almost any company has ever done in terms of community engagement. It's like, make your mocks. We're going to put it in a book, and it's going to become canon.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved the interconnectivity with the story and the fan base. There's a lot of really good stuff that comes from that. It's very special. That's something G2 lacked substantially. Like, there were fan contests. Not a day goes by where I think about this. Where okay, so there was that one contest for all those golden G2 masks? The ones made out of gold?
Yeah.
And you had to send in a picture of something that seemed like a mask?
Yeah.
The golden mask of jungle was won by a picture of a trash can.
Are you kidding me?
What is that supposed to tell me? A trash can! A 24-karat gold mask of jungle!
Well, clearly your golden Lewa mask is worthless. Just start wearing a trash bin on your head.
Why did I think of it sooner?
Exactly.
But yeah, no, it's like they kind of lost that in G2. But regardless, G1, 09, a lot of people were ticked off because we're on a new planet. We have none of the same characters. Yeah. And then another group of people gets ticked off when, lo and behold, hey, look, it's Matsunui. He's here. And then all the build-up and setup for 2009 goes out the window. We're back in the main story, and Matsunui is happening.
Yeah. And then 2010.
Ah, yes.
The stars. Those were the last. I bought those because when it was announced that Bionicle, I bought sets. Like I got to buy these last sets. Mm-hmm. It's pure nostalgia at that point, but
yeah.
And they were okay, all things considered. I think I don't remember. I don't know if this is still the case. I remember at the time the stars sets got a lot of flack, which I think was undeserved. Just it's like this thing's going out. At least they gave us something to go out on.
I mean, they still get flack to this day, but I agree. I'm definitely a defender of the stars because a rumor has it was reported in a few different places. I think when I talked to Greg, he mentioned this. I don't remember. He or someone had mentioned that the Bionicle team had to rally and really petition the company and be like, give us just 6 more. Give us a little more time. Let us give this the ending that they deserve, at least.
I remember hearing something about, like, similar to that. I don't know if it was in relation to the overall story, but I do remember Greg talking about, I think it was Greg at some point talking about, like, we had to fight to get this, to wrap this up.
Yeah.
And bless that team. Mm-hmm. Bless that team for giving us an ending. It was a rushed ending, but I mean, even just in terms of story content, like, it's still sad that the serials never got to continue, but those final movies that they were releasing on Bionicle.com, wrapping up all the story, given the deep history of that universe, dude, seeing the construction of the Matsunui robot, seeing him flying around in space to find out find a way to fix the planet. I don't know if you needed to spend 100,000 years to realize you can use your giant robot powers to gravitationally attract everything back together. But I digress.
Oh wait. Do you know how that whole thing works?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay.
Educate me.
So the reason okay, Matanui robot gets made. The planet is coming apart. It's going to happen.
Energized protodermis, yeah.
So they make the robot and they give it 2 missions. 1, go out into space, spend however long you need to, and learn from other cultures. Come back so that we can learn from those other cultures, so this doesn't happen again.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
It was an exploration robot. It was designed specifically to learn from all these different cultures, planets, etc., and then bring it back so that, because the Great Beings didn't really know how to govern anything. They were like, all right, we don't want to do this. We just want to focus on our sciencey stuff. So
these are the voyages of the giant robot Matanui. Its
basically
ongoing mission to find new worlds, encounter new cultures, to go where no being has gone before. God, casting Michael Dorn as Matanui just feels all the I don't know how to word it.
It's far more
that's even
fitting
better now that he basically voiced a giant starship Enterprise.
Oh yeah, no, it's brilliant. So he goes out and he does that. That's his first mission. He is on his way back.
Yeah, this part I know.
Yeah, when Pterodax the
when Legend of Metronui happens, yeah,
exactly, and then he crashes. So his other mission, once he was to return, the Great Beings were supposed to make a second Great Spirit robot. Pterodax was supposed to inhabit the MU, the Matoran universe, and Matanui was supposed to transfer to this new robot, and the 2 of them together were to bring Spherus Magna back together.
And that's why they were brothers back in 2001.
Which is, well, yes, for starters, yes, and also it's a little funny because canonically speaking, Matanui made Pterodax.
Yeah.
So it's less brotherly and more Matanui is just Pterodax's dad. Pterodax just kind of rebelled.
So Bionicle is about the ultimate daddy issues. Or the ultimate rebellious teen story.
I'm not going to listen to you, Dad. I'm going to just give you a virus and cause you to sit on Aqua Magna for 100,000 years.
Maybe then you'll understand me.
Sorry, 1,000 years. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was actually what the MU was supposed to do. It was supposed to go out, learn, come back, and then work with Pterodax to bring it together. Poetically, they ended up doing that anyway, just in a different way.
Pterodax got his head smashed in by... Was it Spherus Magna or Bota Magna? I don't remember.
It was actually... So there are 2 different iterations. So the comic and I think the book? I'll have to double check that. 2 iterations say that it was a fragment from Aqua Magna, and then another 2 iterations say it was Bota Magna. Canonically, it was the fragment from Aqua Magna.
Okay.
Which feels a little poetic as well.
Yeah. Aqua Magna all feels appropriate.
Yeah. So, let me see. Now I'm really curious. I have to know which iterations. But anyway, yeah, how did you feel about 2010? Let's focus on the ending, which was just Tahu on the beach, how it began, and then we'll move on to the after the end stuff that is very controversial.
Yeah. Overall, the ending I enjoyed as much as I think I could have. I liked the online little videos doing deeper dives into the lore. Once again, voiced by Michael Dorn. Amazing voice.
Oh yeah.
And the ending was, I think it was satisfactory. The main ending was satisfactory.
Mm-hmm.
It was played out faster than it was meant to be, but still, I was hyped every week to get, or was it every week? I think they released a new, or was it every day they released a new episode at the end? Whatever time period it was. I don't remember. I was hyped every time a new episode released on Bionicle.com.
Yeah.
For a short, they were 2 minutes a piece or something, but I was always hyped, like, oh yeah, new episode. Let's do this.
That reminds me. So you know how the last one was Tahu?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you heard this before. So Kelly McKernan, who was the head of the website for a very long time, the Bionicle website, he designed Nektan's weapon, and he also named Skirmix.
Oh, cool.
He wanted to get Scott McNeil to voice that very last one as Tahu.
That would have been awesome.
And he wasn't able to do it. However, Scott McNeil is still a prolific voice actor, and he's a variety of different characters for Lego Ninjago. And there's another Lego voice actor by the name of Brent Miller. He is at some point going to be on the show. We're still working out the details. It is a very confusing and complicated process. Anyway,
I bet.
Brent's a great guy. He has his own YouTube channel where he brings on a variety of staff members from Ninjago, writers, directors, showrunners, and voice actors. Somebody sent in that quote, and Scott McNeil finally read it off on video.
Oh.
So.
Oh, that's awesome.
It all came back around.
Eventually, yeah.
So.
All good things come to those who wait.
Yep. Unfortunately, Bionicle G2 wasn't one of those things. No. I riff on it a little more than I actually
It
should.
could have been. I'll tell you, when G2 was announced, I got very hyped, and I really, really loved the first wave of sets. The first year of sets, I should clarify.
Mm-hmm.
Second year was kind of... They were still fun builds, but they were a little less... The Toa lost their uniqueness, man. That was the coolest thing about not G1. First year of G2 was how unique each Toa build was, especially Anawa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nostalgic. Made me very nostalgic for the early days of Bionicle when each Toa for as restricted as they were, each Toa had their own unique build to some degree.
Yeah, that's what I see. The Toa Mata to me are very similar to Halo Reach Spartans. The customization, because it's a platform, but then all of the customization adds on to make it look very unique. The Toa Mata were absolutely that archetype.
Yeah, even the Toa Nuva were like that too.
Yeah.
And it was kind of everything after that where they kind of got. I remember in 2005, no, not 2005, 2006. They were saying, "Oh, the Toa Nika." No, you didn't. They made the Matoran unique, for better or for worse, but...
Yeah, no, I'm not... I've been on record a variety of times stating that I'm not the biggest fan of the Toei Nika. I don't like the masks. I do not like those masks.
Like, story point of view, like, from purely on story side, it's interesting, but as sets, no. Definitely not.
But I agree with you, actually, regarding the Toa Masters from 2015. Yeah. I actually really do enjoy them. I think there is a strong argument to suggest that they are possibly the best Toa sets between G2 and G1.
I could agree with that.
Just looking at it from like a statistic, like an objective point of view, and I know this gets thrown around a lot when you're talking about critique and criticism, but I think there can be an objective standard to Bionicle sets if you follow a specific set of criteria, points of articulation, what they're trying to emulate, color theory comes into play, part count, price per piece, etc., etc., etc. I think there's a strong argument to say that they're the best. If not the best, then some of the best, because they have great articulation. They look really solid.
Yeah. The thing that brought me in, like, that immediately sold them for me was they finally hit that perfect point between ideal posability and still having that gear function. Dude, the fact that the gear function came back even if it's something as simple as swinging the arms, which you can technically, even while retaining their full range of motion. Oh my God. Bless whoever designed those.
Yep. No, it's really impressive. And I know there are a lot of people in the community. It's a little split. So it's half and half.
Yeah.
A lot of people like the Masters, and a lot of people like the Uniters from 2016. The reason people like the Uniters really perturbs me because they like the fact that the style went back to the kind of greebly pistons and details and unnecessary looking lines and angles. I don't think that looks particularly good in mixture with CCBS, which is the smooth shell pieces from Hero Factory.
Yeah.
So as a visual appearance, I think the Masters look more cohesive and as a result look better.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. My main issue is just like all the Toas seem to be the same with the Uniters. There was the unique body builds were entirely gone, or at least they were so subtle that it might as well not have been there.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I mean, Onua should not be the tallest character. I understand what they were going for when they kind of designed him. He was supposed to be the big bulk. He was supposed to be their Hulk.
Yeah.
But they got it right in 2015.
Yes, they did.
They made him large and bulky, but also kind of squat.
Yep. And I loved him in the online animations. He was the gentle giant. That's Ottawa, man.
Don't fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
that was beautiful.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The uniqueness kind of dissipated.
Yeah.
But
and one of several reasons I think that G2 failed, but that's another discussion.
It really is, and I think we're going to be wrapping up in a few moments here.
Yeah. So,
but
if you want to talk about the post 2010 like extra material.
Yes.
For G1.
Let's do that. I'm also going to open up the YouTube chat to questions. So if anyone has any questions, Go ahead and ask them now, and we'll get to them in just a moment. But first, yes, let's talk a little bit about those serials.
Yeah. Like overall, the Bionicle serials were probably what kept me going with the series after I stopped collecting the sets.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fascinating, such amazing deep lore, dude. All the times that like Toho would start traveling around to other dimensions and universes and get to. Seeing the Toa Empire universe, I think, was probably one of my favorites.
Dark Mirror, yeah.
Yeah, seeing what would happen. Like, I love that, like, a dictator takes over. It's Bionicle Hitler, basically.
Yeah.
And, that's the universe where everything's kosher. At least in terms of Matanui's mission.
Mm-hmm.
The inside might not be all that, might not be great to live there. But if you're Matanui, hey, everything, I'm not being poisoned and passing out for 1,000 years.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's a lot of people do criticize a lot of the serials. I think there is a decent argument for 07's serials that they added a lot of unnecessary fluff and kind of piled on the complexity of the franchise, but I can't make that same I can't agree with that argument when it comes to 08.
Yeah.
Like, I
don't remember what year it was, but like meeting the good Makuta, who had completely white armor.
That was 08.
Was that the one from the universe where Motoro didn't sacrifice himself?
So that was going to be Brothers in Arms, I want to say, and that was. I'm pretty sure those Brothers in Arms. Maybe no.
Oh no, yeah, Makuta still existed. The Dark Evil Makuta still existed in that one.
Okay, yeah, no. Yeah, you are thinking of Brothers in Arms, and that is when Voltrez and Mazuka went into that alternate dimension where the Makuta were good guys. That's the one you're thinking of.
Yes.
The universe where Motoro didn't sacrifice himself. Oh, heavens, what was that called?
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called, but that was something that just epitomizes, I think, some of the best serials. It was a very mature story for this children's universe.
The Kingdom, that's what it was.
Yeah, the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Like these beings, it very much reminded me of a Doctor Who story from the second Doctor, David Tennant's modern second Doctor. Sorry, the 10th Doctor overall. David Tennant's story with Martha, when they go to the very end of the universe, and you have these last humans clinging to survival as their universe is collapsing around them. It's like that same kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone gets that reference.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it was cool. Getting back to the actual point, though, it was cool to have all those extra serials continuing after the proper end in 2010. But and I know we've gotten some details since, but God, I don't remember what the series was called, but that last one, they were just on the verge of meeting a great being who had taken the form of one of the Voyatoran.
Yep, Talika.
And then that was it. Nothing ever happened. At least not as a proper story. I don't know. I know there were some details since then because I don't remember I don't think the actual serial gave that answer. I think it was given away on the forums, on the BZ Power forums after the fact.
It was. Yeah. No, well, basically someone had asked, actually I think it was the LEGO message boards because Greg eventually, he couldn't go on BZ Power because of a LEGO policy change. And so then he was on the LEGO message boards and then those got shut down. So now he's on the TTV message boards.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's great. He comes around every so often. He does answer questions. But yeah, it was revealed out of serial.
Yeah. So, and that's where Bionicle ended.
Yeah. Did you ever read the end of Samad's Tale?
Of what?
Samad's Tale?
I don't remember.
That's the one with the
almost 10 years since then. So like the only thing, my memory isn't that great. So like big details stand out. And other stuff, especially now that since I've gone full Halo in terms of lore, a lot of the Bionicle details have faded away. Sadly, at some point, I want to dive back into that universe, reread all the. I know there's like a mega document out, all the books in one, and then there are ways to get the comic. There are the Biomedia project has I think has all the comics online.
Here, let me go ahead.
Was it them or someone else?
Something. Biomedia Project has everything Bionicle Media related. Like they blew the lid off of the unreleased 01 game. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's where I originally found out about them. Someone had posted on the Bionicle Lego subreddit about that, and eventually followed it over to Twitter and found them. And yeah, it was like a second renaissance for Bionicle for me on a personal level. Just discovering that project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Bionicle Media Project's great. What I sent you is called Biological Chronicle, the complete Bionicle collection. I had the guy who put a lot of this together on my show a few weeks ago. It's got everything. Yeah. So if you want to get back in the story,
I talked with him on Twitter once or twice, but perfect. That's exactly it. So I can get back into it.
Yeah, no, this has got everything. It's got comics, books, serials. It's got a story that was never released or properly translated into English by LEGO, even though it was written by Greg in English. That was published in Poland. That was then fan-translated back into English.
I'll take it, man. New Bionicle stuff after over a decade. G1 stuff after over almost a decade. Yes, please.
Yeah, it's called The Crossing. It's a 2009 story.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, no, that's a good way of getting back into it.
Mm-hmm.
But Samad's Tale is it's one of the last three serials. So Samad's Tale, the Yesterday Quest, and the Powers That Be. Powers That Be were Kapak and Pohatu. They went up to the Red Star. Yesterday Quest was the one you were talking about. Samad's Tale was about that guy from the Iron Tribe that was kind of just wandering around.
Oh, is it the one with the dream sickness?
Yes.
Okay, I do remember that.
Okay, that one is the only one that finished. The other two didn't.
Okay.
But
I remember that one being extremely fascinating. That's a cool way to have a unique plague for beings that otherwise shouldn't be able to get sickness.
Yeah. No, it's cool stuff. But yeah. All right, Ian, how would you feel about answering some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. Well, let me see here. Okay, well, first of all, whoops, this question's directed for me. It's a story question. Andrew asks, why was Pterodax subordinate to Miserix if he was so crucial? I'm not sure I follow. Oh, wait, no, I follow now. I don't know. It's never really elaborated on, because Pterodax was the intended recipient of the MU, but that doesn't necessarily mean he didn't need to be the head of the Brotherhood. In fact, it would make more sense for him to be subservient to Miserix, because his importance wasn't as the head of the Brotherhood, which might distract him. It was as something else entirely. You don't want to have all your eggs in a basket.
So maybe teach him some make him a little try to make him humble.
I mean, yeah, it didn't work, but yeah.
No.
Brother,
it's 2020.
Brother W asks 3 questions, one of which I will omit. I'm going to ask this one to both of us. Do you think Liwa is best waifu?
Obviously.
Yeah. How's this even a question? And the other one is, how was your day?
Day's been okay, but I'm going to be playing some Star Wars RP after this, so it's going to get a lot better.
Fair enough. All right.
Well, I shouldn't say that because that implies that I'm not having the time of my life right now, which I actually am. So
it's okay. I've only taken great offense.
Okay, right now this is awesome, and then I'm going to have some fun after this.
That's all right. You've only broken my feelings and made me want to go and cry in a corner after this is over. That's fair. No.
Oh, my mission is accomplished then.
All right. OMG, I'm on fire asks, how do you guys feel as Halo fans that Mega Constructs is saving Construction with their buildable Master Chief?
I can't say I feel one way or another about it.
I'm gonna be blunt.
It's a cool figure. I'm gonna get it. That's about as much as I can say, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little callous. It's Mega Constructs. They're not saving jack squat. All right,
that's fair.
It's like they are dipping their toe into the construction market Lego made for them, but it's still going to be Mega Blocks at the end of the day. You're not getting Lego quality. That figure's not going to...
Oh, they're buildable bricks. They're the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
As old people are.
Mm-hmm, of course.
No, as I was building, was it Holly Mari, I think, had those pieces?
Yep.
And like I was reassembling her, and they started breaking apart. At the time, I didn't know the quality issue, but
yeah,
at least it took a while to fall apart. The Mega Block set fell apart immediately.
Yeah,
and I was so done with Mega for a long time with that. I missed out on some amazing Halo themed sets that I kind of regret now, and they've gone up in quality. But I'll tell you, the majority of my sets, for one thing, I hated how they used to. Mega finally got on board with, doing the numbered part bags.
Oh,
because before you'd have to open up everything, lay it out, and dig. Dude, building the Scarab for Mega Blocks took me a week because of the disorganization in there's. But the quality has generally gone up. But even still, I like every set with one exception so far has been missing parts.
Yeah, and so basically that's a good testament to why I'm saying Mega Constructs, they're not saving Construction.
Yeah.
All right. Construction is not going to be saved because of one Master Chief that is a Mega Blocks quality.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Zach Higginson asks, Ian, what is your favorite Bionicle set, character, and mask and/or power?
Oh, man. Well, set is Kanai Ra Muwaka from 2001, because those are so much fun to play with. And the expanding neck and crunching jaw, I love taking them and, having the two battle it out and try to rip out the Kanohi mask. And their freaking arms fall off. That's brutal and awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, favorite set. What was it after those?
Character.
Oh, that's a tough one. Favorite character. Vittorio would definitely be up there as one of my favorite characters. He had an amazing storyline from 2000 all the way from 2001 when you meet him on the mountain side in Kauai, in Manaug in Kauai.
Oh yeah.
All the way to his unfortunate but unfortunate end, his heroic end. Thank you. I was at a loss for words there. But he's definitely up there as one of my favorite characters. Makuta Terra would actually be up there as one of your favorite character to love to hate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll put those two down for now.
Okay, that's reasonable. And then finally, mask and/or power.
Because I don't remember all the. I'm going to just say the how would be my favorite mask. I'm cliche like that. Tahu was my favorite Toa. Was my favorite original Toa, I should say. Cause I just said Matoro as a favorite.
No, How's all right. How's an iconic mask? I mean, look at me. Yeah. Miro's my favorite, so
yeah,
can't go wrong.
Yep. We're both equally bland.
Excuse me?
You're excused.
Oh, okay, thanks. Be right back. No. All right. Next question. All right, so that one was retracted. So, fair enough. Okay, come on, where is it? All right, next question is from RetroZade, who asks, this is more of a gaming question, but what are your opinions of Master Chief in Smash Brothers, as characters like Joker and Snake are weapons, and are in M games, and Banjo is a Microsoft property?
I'd love to see Master Chief making it a Smash. It's been one of the demands of the Halo community. The Smash Ultimate was announced, and they were bringing out all the characters. Everybody, the entire community bought Master Chief in there. So, if Microsoft and Nintendo can make it happen, heck yeah.
Now, see, I'm of the opinion where it could happen, I guess, but why would you have Master Chief when you could have Steve from Minecraft?
Because I like Master Chief.
All right, reasonable.
I can't think of a witty response to that,
unfortunately. That's right. Brother W asks, 2 questions. 1, have you ever eaten a mangosteen?
Nope.
All right, fair. And 2, what did you think of The Last Jedi?
I like The Last Jedi. I will defend most of it.
Get off my show. I never want to see you again. I can't do.
Well, you haven't seen me once, so.
Okay, that's not incorrect, but.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I enjoyed Last Jedi. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
All right, fair enough. You can do this, LJ. You've had
so
other guests
my address, if you want to kill me, is no.
I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna tie you up in the basement and show you better Star Wars movie. No.
Like Solo?
I liked Solo.
I like Solo too. I think it got way more flack than it deserved.
Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. I was entertained by Solo. I'm not a big Star Wars guy, so when I say I'm not big on Star Wars, I mean it, which just goes to show you how much I didn't like Last Jedi as a movie. Like, I don't really think a Star Wars movie is a thing, but as a movie, I just wasn't very satisfied watching it. It just wasn't enjoyable to me.
To each their own.
But I
don't judge.
That's all right. I will judge. Get out. No, I'm kidding. I heard that. All right. So, next question is a little morbid, but all right. Clognog asks, what do you think of using small animal bones in Bionicle mocks? What?
Just be sure that you clean them first.
I mean,
you know,
yes, I guess, but why?
Because he's a really big fan of Boneheads of Voodoo.
Okay. All right, we have a funny guy here. We're moving on to the next question. Biomati asks, Ian, what is your favorite Bionicle game?
Probably Bionicle the game. Unfortunately, I never really got to play any of the Game Boy Advance games back in the day because let's just say getting my parents to let me own a Game Boy Color was a challenge. So after Game Boy Color, I didn't own a handheld game until, or a handheld gaming platform until the Nintendo 2DS years later.
Mm-hmm.
So now my parents were like anti-game because it'll distract you from schoolwork, which is a valid concern. So they were just thinking about my future. But yeah, so never really got to play those ones, so I couldn't tell you if they were any fun. Otherwise, I only got to play Bionicle the game, the Voyanui game, and the 2 Monog games. So Bionicle the game, I think, would be my favorite. It's, I think, the best as a proper game. Monog is a close second than the Voyanui games. And then I want to like Monog too, but God, was it glitchy back in the day.
It's glitchy now.
Yeah, it is. I could never... The Coley matches. The Coley matches were the absolute. They were like that game, that mini game within Final Fantasy X, like the sphere game, the like underwater volleyball game from Final Fantasy X. It was like the most annoying thing. It was the coolest concept, but in practice, it was just terrible. And of course, I never got to finish it. So
same, actually. Yeah. I've played most.
I've seen the end, mind you, but I never played it myself.
Yeah, no, I've seen it as well. I did a series with a friend of mine, and we ran through it, and that was the first time I actually saw it completed, beginning to end.
Oh, nice.
So,
I might check that out.
Oh yeah, at Monog with Meso.
Yes, I remember that. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I don't know if I ever. I know I went through all of Monog. I don't think I got all the way through Monog 2, or I just skipped to the end of it to know what the end was. One of those two. I'll check out the full thing sometime, because that sounds fun.
Not playing it
in the background at work.
That's a good place for it. All right. So, OMG, I'm on fire asks, how do you guys feel about Infinite, going back to the classic Halo art style, and what are your guys' favorite armors? I'll go ahead and bring up my Infinite photo. Oh, nope, it's a Bionicle. There we go.
Well, I'll say this to start off. First off, it's not an art style, it's an art direction.
Ooh.
I cannot tell you how much it annoys me. The use of the word art style in the Halo community annoys me about as much as you probably get annoyed by people saying Bionicles.
I would imagine.
For comparison.
Yeah. Or saying that there's a better Lewa than me. You know, I'll kill those people.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Just it's an art direction. Art style is technically part of the art direction, but art style doesn't really accurately, in my opinion, describe the changes notably from Halo 3 to Halo 4 and now Halo 5 to Halo. But even then, I'm trying not to dive down this rabbit hole because I have some strong feelings.
Fair enough.
But I'll just say this. The Halo 4 Master Chief armor, the Halo 4 Mjolnir, is my favorite design, followed very closely by the Halo CE Master or Mark V. But I hate how it was introduced because I think that turned a lot of people off of it right away. I wish they had kept the original Mark VI and then given him the new armor once he got reunited with the UNSC. When he got on the Infinity, then you can give him the new look. Mm-hmm. But on its own, that is my favorite armor. There is so much that went into its design to better convey the motion capture, to better convey emotion that the Chief is feeling to the audience. And there are a ton of little details. Like one of my favorites is one of the criticisms of that armor is people talk about the shoulder pads being not protecting the shoulders properly. But my counterpoint to that is they actually move. They'll move in relation to the Chief's arm movement, so to give him a full range of motion while completely protecting his shoulders at the same time. Sadly, that was lost in Halo 5, but still, the design overall is my absolute favorite. So going back to the Infinite design, I do not hate it, but it very much feels like pandering to a section of the community, granted probably a majority in a very vocal section. But I don't like that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, my favorite part about the Mark VI design, Mark VI's helmet is my favorite helmet generally. That's what you'll see me wearing in all the games. That's always been my favorite part about Mark VI. So this feels fine, I guess. I don't feel too strongly about it one way or the other. The art direction, it seems to be okay. My favorite was always Reach's art direction. If the energy sword looks good, I'm okay.
Yeah. That's actually something too. Is like one thing I really liked about another thing I really liked about the Halo 4 version and Halo 5 versions was the armor very much seemed designed in order to get a Spartan their full range of motion. That was like if you talk to cosplayers about cosplaying Halo 4 Chief versus Halo 3 Chief, Halo 4 Chief is a lot easier to move around.
Mm-hmm.
The Halo Infinite Chief is even worse than Halo 3 and 2 and 3 Chief in terms of mobility. Like if Chief tried to raise his arms vertically, like go or from the sides up, the Halo 3 Chief would get about he could T-pose and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Before the shoulder plates interfered with his movement. The new Chief couldn't even T-pose before his shoulder pads start clipping into the armor.
Oh no. I hadn't even thought about that.
I don't know. Yeah.
Ugh.
There's a beautiful rant from a cosplayer on about that stuff. So, but I won't name her because I don't think she wants the attention anymore.
Fair enough. But yeah, no. It'll be interesting.
So those are my feelings. Overall, I'm still excited for Halo Infinite. I just have some reservations.
That was the word going through my head.
Yeah, that would be another hour of discussion at least. So I'm not going to dive. I'm going to cut myself off there.
Fair enough. Thankfully, though, you have a whole channel for it.
Exactly.
All right. Biomatty asks a question: do you guys play Team Fortress 2? And Ian, do you watch Zabla story recap? I'm not sure what that is. Let me see.
I do not recognize that name, so
All right, fair.
do not watch them. But as for Team Fortress 2, I currently do not play it. I played it back when it came out on the Orange Box, or as part of the Orange Box, but I haven't played it like since the year it was released.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. I'm just gonna point this question out before we get to the last question. Also, I don't play Team Fortress 2. Do you? Do you play TF2?
No, like I said, not since it released.
Oh, okay, got it.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So, real fast. There was an earlier question with the bones, and then Clognog asks later, "Do you think baby penguins are cute?" And I don't like the relation of these two questions, so I'm gonna say next question.
Not cute enough to be clubbed.
I like that.
I'm sorry.
We're going to make this one the last question from Suddenly Oranges, who asks, what do you think about the overlap of the Halo and Bionicle communities, and why do you think there is such an overlap?
I find it very fascinating how many people in the Halo community were at one point or another Bionicle fans. Like if people don't recognize me as Halo Canon, they'll say, "Oh, is your name a reference to Bionicles?" Heck yeah, and that'll usually start a whole discussion. There are plenty of people that actually have Bionicle reference or usernames that reference Bionicle. Dear God. So it's fascinating. As I'm obviously a lore and story guy, I think a lot of the overlap just comes from how rich each universe is, and it probably helps that Halo and Bionicle both started in 2001, so there might be, people probably latched onto both of those around the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's about right. They do share a lot in common. O1, Mystique, pretty iconic characters, I would say.
Yeah.
You
could eat very easily like the Great Beings to the Forerunners in a lot.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, I think even, a lot of the recent rumblings that 343 have been doing in the games, like, specifically in Halo 4, there was a reference to the Chief being the pinnacle of millions of years of planning or something to that effect. It's like, there's something there. You can relate that to the Great Beings making the Tomata.
Yeah, very much so.
So, yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing.
Amen.
All right. that's going to be about it, Ian. Thank you so much for taking the time today and for being so patient with our technical difficulties this evening.
Thank you for having me, dude. This was a lot of fun.
I'm glad.
I haven't had the chance to talk Bionicle like this in probably more than a decade, so
well,
it feels good.
You're welcome back anytime. We can schedule it, and we'll talk even more. There's, I mean, it's Bionicle. There's always something to unpack.
Yeah.
So, but that being the case, is there anywhere on social media you would like people to follow you at?
You can follow me on YouTube at Halo Canon, and I'm on Twitter at ToaFreak, TOA_FREAK. And yeah, those are the two main places. There's a Halo Canon Facebook page, but I'm not as active there as I should be.
All right. Fair enough. And I hate Facebook, so I won't worry about it. So
there you go. Perfect.
But yeah, no. All right. Well, thank you, Ian. It has legitimately been a really fun time.
Definitely.
All right. And thank you to everyone listening, not only for your patience equally amongst all of the technical difficulties, but for tuning in to listen. This will be released publicly again over the next few days, before or on Tuesday, so keep an eye out for it. But thank you regardless. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And that'll do it. This has been yet another episode of the Eljay Johnsen Show. This show airs every single weekend, every Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, unless specified otherwise, over on Twitter at the Eljay Johnsen, where you can find updates and guest announcements every single Tuesday. And if you have any questions over the week, make sure you head on over to my email, eljayjohnsen@gmail.com. Remember, that's JOHNSEN. That'll do it. Thank you all so very much, and have a wonderful day.